Hello everyone! Hello and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series. I am the Black Shadow, and yes, I welcome you to a classic back from 1997, the original Fallout. Made by Interplay Entertainment and more promptly known with Black Isle Studios, there was a division upon them. Of course, this is way before Bethesda got their hands on the series, not for many years. Oh yeah, this was released in 1997, believed to be kind of the spiritual successor to a game called Wasteland, which was released in the late 80s, also by Interplay, which also covered the idea of post-apocalyptic Earth after nuclear thought and that sort of thing. It is a good old-fashioned RPG for sure. And just a prior warning for this video, if this video is basically going to be concerning a bit of backstory on the game and the series as a whole, on also focusing on character creation for the series. If you're not interested in either of them and just want to see some good old-fashioned RPG action, feel free to skip ahead to the next video, as I won't actually be touching upon the this game's story or any action in this video. But I do invite you to sit back and listen to what is ultimately quite a famous opening sequence, which has, of course, been re-brought out and relived and remade many, many times. Because, of course, folks, we all know what never changes.
War never changes. The Romans waged war to gather slaves and wealth. Spain built an empire from its lust for gold and territory. Hitler shaped a battered Germany into an economic superpower. But war never changes. In the 21st century, war was still waged over the resources that could be acquired. Only this time, the spoils of war were also its weapons: petroleum and uranium. For these resources, China would invade Alaska, the US would annex Canada, and the European Commonwealth would dissolve into quarreling, bickering nation-states bent on controlling the last remaining resources on Earth. In 2077, the storm of World War had come again. In 2 brief hours, most of the planet was reduced to cinders. And from the ashes of nuclear devastation, a new civilization would struggle to arise. A few were able to reach the relative safety of the large underground vaults. Your family was part of that group that entered Vault 13. Imprisoned safely behind the large vault door, under a mountain of stone, a generation has lived without knowledge of the outside world. Life in the vault is about to change.
So yes, folks, I do indeed welcome you to Let's Play Fallout. This game is going to be sort of blind. I've never actually played the original Fallout before. I have seen other people play this game a little bit, so I have some familiarity with the game. But as far as physically playing it myself, I've never actually done it before, though I've always wanted to. And yes, I am playing the Steam version of the game, as I bought it originally on the back in the winter sale, I believe it was. But yeah, so the game runs very differently to what we know nowadays, more modern, with Bethesda. And I tell you, I'm just going to let the credits roll for a quick bit here while I talk here. Yeah, the game runs it very differently. Of course, a lot of people think of Fallout 3 and beyond. But that game wasn't released until about like 2007, 2008, which is a good 10 years after this. Basically what happened was, after the first 2 games got developed in the late 90s, Interplay itself was actually looking and started working on a Fallout 3 in the mid-2000s. Unfortunately, the company ran into bankruptcy issues and ultimately had to sell the license off, which went to Bethesda. I think it was like... it wasn't much. It wasn't much they sold it for. They kept like an old MMO license or something, and then there was some lawsuit regarding that. It was a bit messy. But in any event, I believe they sold the basic main license of Fallout from Interplay. Went to Bethesda in 2007, I believe it was, which then, of course, led to Fallout 3 not too long after that, about 18 months or so. Bethesda, of course, decided to completely redo the game. They didn't base it off of the original basis that Interplay and Black Isle had worked on, but they instead kind of completely remodeled it. Of course, they've been doing like the Elder Scrolls games. They had their own engines for that, and basically they kind of worked their own version into it, into the form of Fallout that we all know today. And you'll see very quickly the differences between the two games, the two styles of games, I should say, in this video, folks. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to getting on with this. It is a fantastic little game, and while it does seem a little archaic in the way the game works a little bit, this is a proper old school RPG. In fact, it was even meant to, I believe it was actually meant to, of course we know Fallout uses the special system as the main basis for character building. I believe it was actually, Fallout 1 was originally going to use like a tabletop version of character building. I believe it's called like the GRAP system, I believe it was. But Interplay said, actually, you know what, we're going to make something of our own. They designed the special system, which we all know. And the rest, as they say, is history. Fallout, of course, spanning tons of sequels and side games as well, with the Tactics series and online games as well. Plenty of business that went on. Anyways, we are going to crack on with building a character. So we are going to have ourselves a new game. Let me just check my options here. I've already fiddled around with options a little bit. I played the game for like just a few minutes. We're going to play this game on the hardest difficulty possible, because apparently I hate myself, as you know. There will be violence. And a lot of these I don't particularly know exactly what they do. Combat messages, obviously no filter. Running's going to be not necessarily on. I might put that on always later on. Subtitles, item highlights. And this hopefully should be fine. As we develop into a couple of videos, I'll probably work out if things need to be changed slightly, but hopefully should be good. Although I am going to turn up the sensitivity a little bit here. That's a bit lower. That's pretty good. Lovely. Nice. So let us begin with a brand new character, everyone. So the game will give you an option of 3 base characters, which are members of Vault 13. As we are going to have to leave the Vault for reasons that will go into next video. 3 characters that the game will give you is Mr. Max Stone. We've got Natalia here. Please pause so you can read that. And we've got Albert. Obviously, you can see the 3 characters have their own varying base stats. Sort of, and their base, base stats and other abilities that they have as well, which of course will change a bit as we go. But we're not going to be doing any of those, folks. We, of course, are going to be creating our own brand new character. Holy shit, there's a lot of things here. Oh, God, the late 90s, folks. Yeah, the game can be a bit menu heavy sometimes. It's not too bad. So, for those of you who are not very familiar with Fallout games, your main character is based off of the special systems I've mentioned, which stands for Strength, Perception, Endurance, Charisma, Intelligence, Agility, and good old-fashioned luck. It is of these main base stats that your character will house what kind of build you're going to have. And they'll range from having a stat of 0 of 1 for very bad, all the way up to 10 at heroic. The game will give us a base 5 points to work with off of these stats, but for the purposes of this, give us a bit more flexibility. Just for the time being, we'll turn these all down to level 4 out of 10. Please feel free to stop the video at any point if you want to read any of the dialogues here, because there is a ton of them, just so you know what does what. We're going to go with a base 4 here. So we need to decide a general base for our character. From there, we can then look to tag some skills. Skills reflecting pretty much anything that we do in the game. percentage, of course, reflecting our effectiveness. So you see here for an arm, for example, which is for, of course, hand-to-hand combat. Currently, the statistics are pretty good. Outdoorsman, unfortunately, at the moment, is not so good. And certainly various stats have more use than the others. I'll quickly tag over these so you can pause and read them if you so desire. And yeah, you do need to make sure to choose wisely. The choices you make here, you're going to have to stick with them, and they could very, very heavily influence the character that you have in this game, and how easy or difficult. If you make a pretty rubbish build, you may struggle heavily. Now, if you find you've got a character that's got like really good gambling skills and like big and energy weapons, but doesn't have any kind of basis for like general self-defense, you're gonna struggle, folks. Let's be honest. We also have a variety of optional traits as well, which you can have up to 2 of. You don't have to have any of these if you wish, but they add little extra abilities here. So, for example, metabolism here. You need less resistant to radiation, but your body will heal faster. And you can see how this will affect varying other statistics here, which we can't directly modify. Bruiser, for example, here basically gives us 2 to strength. Small frame gives us 1 to agility. Varying other bits and pieces here. And they're all pretty good, like Kamikaze here. Completely eliminates your armor class, but gives you a better sequence. I'll talk about that in a moment. Heavy-handed. Fast shot, which isn't too bad. Bloody mess, which is purely optional. It's basically a cosmetic thing. Yeah. That. It's messy. Jinxed. We've got good-natured. Chemicals, which exist, which can be pretty useful, but pretty damn dangerous. Night person, skilled, and gifted. These 2 are very, very interesting at the very end. So, what exactly do we want to do for our character? Well, I did have a good sit-down. And I thought quite a lot about how exactly I wanted to approach this game. The great thing with the Fallout series, of course, is that there's usually multiple ways to resolve the same situation. And of course, this is going to be heavily dependent on your character build. You know, so for example, if I wanted to go someone who's got like very high strength and like very high endurance, obviously they're going to be pretty good at in combat situations. But due to a lack of points, it means that outside of combat, they're going to kind of struggle with many other things. Whether it's bartering and buying and selling goods, you're going to get charged plenty. Whether it's other situations, need to talk with people, persuade them for various things you want them to do. There's a lot of you have to make some sacrifices somewhere. You can't be good at everything, at least not to start with. And yes, while the game does set everything at a base of 5, I'm going to run with a base of 4, and we're going to add points from there. And as I said, I was thinking about how do I make a build? And I suppose in a little bit of a way, courtesy of we've done the Organ Trail recently, and kind of like role-playing a little bit with that, I suppose it makes sense to kind of think of, well, let's think about this. It was 2077 when the bombs went off. This game takes place like, 80 years? Almost 90 years after that? So, everyone that you've known and lived, and all your experiences, has been inside of the vault. You've been there all your life, your parents have been there pretty much all their life, their grandparents have been there probably the majority of their lives. And that has its own inherent good and bad, I mean, obviously there's plenty of time, relative safety for you to learn and, kind of learn about as varying things. But of course, when it comes to having to go outside the vault, and the door hasn't opened since anyone's been in there, really, your actual practical experience in life is not necessarily going to be there. Also bearing in mind that the world has probably changed a bit over the course of 80 years. And guess which group of people would have absolutely no idea about that? It's a problem. So, it is also, I suppose, going to be a slight reflection of kind of who I would imagine would be sent out. Because I know why they're being sent out, so I have that. Basically, something breaks down inside the vault, and they can't fix it. They need a replacement part for the machine in question, and thus there is nothing in the vault that we're in. So the person in charge of the vault, called the Overseer, which I think is actually kind of ironic thinking about it, seeing as I'm currently doing Revelations 2, and we've got an Overseer in that. I didn't even think about that. Wow. Sends the Vault Dweller, which is the person we play as, out in order to a nearby vault to try and find a replacement part, hoping there's still a civilization in there and be a spare. I'm guessing you can probably guess how successful that ends up being. We'll touch on that later. So bearing in mind that this person has lived all their lives inside of a vault, and probably has been chosen at reasonably short order to go out, it's not necessarily going to be someone who, people living inside a vault, and not being outside, used to having machines pretty much produce everything they do for them, a bit on the lazy, perhaps not necessarily lazier side, but kind of used to everything being supplied for them rather than having to kind of go out and get it or manufacture it for whatever reason. As such, I suspect it's going to be, out of the choice of people in the vault, I doubt it's going to be someone who's going to be like, tons of strength and endurance and like a super duper character. To be honest, it's probably going to be someone who's got a much more heavier basis in sort of theoretical knowledge of how shit works, but is about to get humbled when they step outside. So, we're going to go with a increase for perception. We're going to boost up probably a couple of points. I may run around this slightly. You can see the differences that adding perception adds on here. So you can see a difference from 5 to 6 here increases like our first aid, our doctor's skill, traps, lockpick. You can also see the effect that it has here as well. And you can see this is increasing our sequence. The big difference between this game to Fallout 3, although the game runs in real time, combat is turn-based. Which is a thing. Which is, of course, very different. Combat is dealt in a turn-based fashion. And your sequence basically determines how soon you are able to make your next action. I kind of feel a bit similar to almost like Final Fantasy X's battle system, which isn't really a great way of looking at it, but as far as LPs on this channel, it's a good way to kind of explain it. Or I suppose Grania 2 isn't a mile away either, actually. So the higher your sequence, the more often you can take your next action. And that's basically the way it is. Of course, if you have a much lower sequence, you're going to be taking actions far less often, and you're going to get completely annihilated. So having a good perception is pretty solid. So we're going to have that. Odds are that the person that's been talking out, let's say, they've been sent to a nearby vault, and things may have gone pretty bad. So probably someone that has a bit of, a way of convincing people and talking them to their side. And probably has had a word in the Overseer's ear saying, hey mate, look here, the vault's in trouble, you should probably let me go and do it. So we're going to increase our charisma as well, which you can see here is having an effect on our bartering and speech skill, both of which are really, really nice to have. Intelligence, we're also going to knock this up a couple of points for the moment, which will modifies the amount of skill points we get per level. Intelligence is a nice catch-all skill here, and you can see here affecting outdoorsman, science, repair, all sorts of goodies there. And it also gives us access to more extra skill points for every level we gain. We're going to knock ourselves up a point of agility. Or do I? Yeah, I'm going to put myself a point of agility, which again increases a few stats there. Nicely, it gives an extra point to armor class, which basically is your character's defense rating, which modifies chance to hit the actual character. So high armor class will, protect you from more damage. Pretty nice, right? Pretty damn nice. It's got 5 points to give here. I tell you what then, it gives us an extra perception, We're going to give ourselves an extra charisma point. And they're not going to send someone who's like so frail that they could just literally fall apart. So we're going to give ourselves a point of endurance. And I mean, we'll give ourselves average luck. And I suppose I should give myself 1 point. I don't really want to increase strength particularly. I'm not too fussed about strength. Obviously, having extra weight, carry weight's quite nice. Obviously, with the amount of weight, a bit more. But for the time being, I'm not going to worry about that too much. There's other ways for us to improve. It's also increase our HP there. So we're going to ignore that. But I have 1 more point. We're going to give it to... I think we're going to give it to... I tell. I'm actually going to put it to luck. There we go. So we're going to have ourselves good luck, a character with decent luck. Which is something I'm certainly not very much used to. Really not used to. Optional traits. I had a look at this beforehand. The only thing I am actually going to put on is I'm going to put on good-natured here. You studied less combative skills as you were growing up, because, of course you are. You lived in a damn vault. As such, your combat skills start at a lower level, but first aid, doctor, speech, and barter will be substantially improved. So you can see the huge differences here. And the idea of this character is, as I say, it's someone who, you know, has a lot of book knowledge and kind of understands a lot of shit, but actually doesn't really have much of an idea of how the world works, and certainly isn't going to be massively trained in the use of firearms, because why would they? They've been in a vault all his bloody life. It's not something you're going to learn. I was tempted to give either skilled or gifted. These are pretty huge. Skilled here, for example, increases all of your statistics here by 10%, which is pretty awesome. But it does slow your ability to gain perks. I believe it's 4 now instead of 3. Yes. But you don't get as many extra abilities, so that's a problem. Gifted is also quite nice. Gifted will increase all of your space statistics here by 1 point, which is pretty damn nice. But you do lose a base 10% on every single skill in the game. And you do receive 5 less skill points per level, which kind of hurts in the long time, so we're not going to be using gifted. It looks nice, but it's not actually that great in my opinion. That's just me. Is any actually one of these abilities that are actually better at the base? Not really. Look at that, outdoors at minus 9%. Jesus. Big guns, energy weapons, all minus percentages. That's bad. And yeah, I think that's more or less the character we're going to go with here. We're going to be a little bit older, more senior member of the Vault. We're going to go with a steady 28. We're going to be male. And of course, if I could ever spell my name correctly, it will be Shadow. I should dock myself a point of intelligence for that. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is the character base that we are going to be using. Oh yes, skills. I should really tag some skills, yeah. Skills and characters specialize in. Each tag increases 20% instantly and increases twice as fast. You must pick 3 skills. Yeah, so each level you get, like, you get a load of skill points which you can add to an ability. So, like, I can add an extra skill point to, say, small guns when I level up, and it'll give it an extra % per skill. Whereas if it's a tag skill, it will go up by 2%. I believe that's how it works. Something along those lines. So we are going to pick up 3 skills, because we have to. So again, seeing that it's someone who, if they're being dealt with to, like, work on, like, repairing shit, which is kind of what this person is doing, we are going to tag repair, which is useful. We're going to tag the... I might well tag barter. I don't know. Actually, I'm not too fussed about barter. We're going to tag speech, because I like having a decent speech skill. It's pretty damn useful. We're going to go with that. And it kind of makes sense with, like, I guess, me. And we need to tag 1 more skill. First Aid and Doctor. I don't think I really want either of them. I might well give Traps. I could do Science. Science I'm not too... Well, Science kind of revolves around, like, more technical stuff and use of, like, computers and shit. So, I'm actually thinking I may well tag Science. Nah, I don't want to tag Science. It seems kind of like a waste. There's an argument that says I should tag one of the weapon skills. But again, the idea is that this is a character who isn't really that much of a combatant. And they need to learn on the fucking job. So I'm not going to be choosing any of them. I have to choose one. Lockpick could be really nice. We're going to tag Lockpick. Lockpick is actually quite a nice skill to have. So the base that up there would be pretty damn useful. Yes, the use of lockpicks and electronic lockpicks will greatly enhance the skill. Which are items we can find? Yeah. I think we are pretty damn good folks. Alright then. So I believe this is the set I'm going to work with. Varying bits here. I'll just quickly show you these. So yeah, armor class is that. Action points is the amount of defines the amount of actions you can take in a turn when it is your turn. So we'll have like 7 action points. So like each space you move is like a point. If you go to like stab something, it's 3 points. Shooting something could be a variety. And there are ways of increasing your action point and decreasing the action point cost of various items and things you do as the game progresses. Our hand-to-hand is going to suck. Resistance to damage, of course, is not very high because we don't have any armor. We've got poison resistance, rad resistance, our sequence we know. Healing rate, and we've got a 6% critical chance, which is slightly based off of our luck here. That's not bad. A base 6% critical hit, so that's like 1 in every, like, 16 shots. We're going to get a critical hit. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. Alright then, so yeah, this is the character we're going to be using, folks. So I am going to end the video here. Next time we're actually going to be getting into the game itself. And it should prove interesting. The fact that our character is not going to be very combat heavy is going to cause some interesting situations, folks. We may have to consider not just running gung-ho into a world which we've never laid our eyes on, and that no one in the Vault has laid eyes on for pretty much their entire lives. But for the safety of said Vault, and for its survival, we're going to have to venture into a very changed and very fucking dangerous world. Oh, by the way, ignore this black box. This will go. It will be full screen. Promise. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.